Man, those kids are fucking traumatized.
But she said they were e-learning, so bitch, they're supposed to be learning, and you've got them cleaning Airbnbs.
They're not e-learning. They're watching porn anyways. At least the young men are, so they know exactly how this. They probably figured out quicker than I did.
Yep.
We're doing some clip reviews, and also we got breaking news from CNN.
Breaking.
All right.
It was just like, holy crap. This is a camera.
But it didn't look like a camera. It was a phone charger.
We've seen these before.
His fiancé had grabbed it from the bedroom wall of their Airbnb, thinking it was hers.
The Airbnb host had called us on the phone and told us that we had taken a charger that did not belong to us and that we needed to return it immediately.
At what point did you think this isn't really a charger?
Yeah, that's suspicious.
He became increasingly paranoid. When am I getting this charger back? I think it was like a light bulb moment that we all just went, oh my goodness, is this a hidden camera?
You understand? Like, I really need that charger.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild. And that looked like just like all the ones from our other videos.
Right. He would have been better off just not saying
exactly.
anything.
Just hoping she never noticed it.
Exactly, because he could have also been like, I didn't put that there. Maybe it was a prior guess.
Yeah. You're the one with a fucking crazy ass.
Exactly.
Dump. Well, you're obviously not thinking straight if you're doing.
Right.
Well, maybe it could be a very intelligent, peeping Tom, but
probably not.
Across North America, police have seized thousands of images from hidden cameras at Airbnb rentals, including people's most intimate moments.
You know what that guy's doing?
Come on, honey, play with it.
What happened when you realized that there was a camera in that charger?
It's so eerie and so creepy. Then your brain,
I guess, making that baby.
Right.
What did they see? What happened while we were in that room?
In a small town in Maine, a couple found a hidden camera at their Airbnb. Listen to what the host told police.
So they had sex?
Why would you admit this?
Yeah.
And you recorded that?
I took some screenshots.
The host admits he set up a camera
Why would
hidden
anybody
in this
admit that?
clock next to the bed to record unsuspecting guests.
So there's stuff of a couple of couples playing around or getting changed. So
Okay, so there's pictures of people that are in intimate situations.
yes.
I want to do a deeper dive into that Maine police. Let me hear that full video and what happened to that guy. How did he
Was
get
this
caught?
an undercover cop that's trying to buy these photos, or
Yeah.
is he just spilling his guts to the police?
Oh God, I'm caught. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's more than just a few reported cases, and Airbnb knows it's a problem. In this deposition reviewed by CNN, an Airbnb rep said 35,000 customer support tickets about security cameras or recording devices had been documented over a decade. Airbnb told CNN a single complaint can involve multiple tickets. And a CNN investigation found Airbnb not only fails to protect its guests, it works to keep complaints out of the courts and away from the public.
Why don't we know about this? They are trying to keep it secretive. And if everyone knew what was happening, they would not be using their website.
Airbnb wants to wash their hands clean when they have a host who does something illegal.
Okay, I looked her up. I
Yeah?
Googled.
She's an attorney?
Sharon Schott. Those two, have a firm together.
Uh-huh.
And they are. I just pulled it up. All right, you Google her name, and the first thing that pops up is Mrs. Make It Renka.
What?
Yeah. She's a PI attorney. Check it out. I guess you can see that's her. There she is. And she, Mrs. Makerenka, and then she talks about.
I hate us. I hate PI attorneys.
Well, I kind of wanted to call them, but it's after 5 now. I'd be like, hey, what's going on with this case?
Yeah, we should bring them on.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll just not. They won't watch our previous episodes to know we talk shit about them.
Right.
Yeah, but I thought that was it. They have the Airbnb thing one of their first.
We
sites.
should do this.
So, yeah, or I could just stick cameras in my Airbnb.
And then I could sue Airbnb for it.
Yeah, I'll let you know what our plaintiffs are going to be, whoever rents my shit. Perfect.
Don't ask me how I know this, but I have a feeling there's cameras in your Airbnb.
I promise not to watch them. Just one.
They want to say we are simply a website. We are not responsible for this host. We are not responsible for this property.
Florida attorneys Belkis Plata and Shannon Schott say trying to sue Airbnb if something goes wrong is extremely difficult. It begins when you sign up on Airbnb's website and click Agree to its terms of service. You're agreeing to assume all risk.
The person going to rent the property agrees that if something happens while they're staying at this accommodation, they're actually prohibited from suing Airbnb.
Got to be a limit
They
to
must
that.
go a different route, which is a binding arbitration. It's a way to strong-arm someone.
Is this about controlling publicity?
100%.
Absolutely.
Once they've settled a claim, Airbnb has required guests to sign confidentiality agreements, which CNN obtained, that keep some details of legal cases private.
For you to get the check, you must sign the piece of paper so that no one will know. This will be swept under the rug.
Still got that check, though.
That's what Lyft and Uber do also.
That's exactly what happened to this man.
How did you feel signing that confidentiality agreement?
Dirty.
Okay,
They gave it the full drug dealer
Dirty.
treatment.
Right, exactly.
Like
For
with the
Airbnb, that's
voiceover and
hilarious.
shit. That's hilarious. And
Blurred his image.
that's great.
I actually had, is either on Lyft or Uber recently, they wanted me as the attorney to sign a confidentiality non-disparagement agreement. I'm like, okay, make my client do that. I'm not signing that shit.
They still pay it out without signing that?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. About to see. I'm going to fight him on it.
Yeah, fuck them.
Probably not, but.
I'll take the money.
Right, yeah.
But that means they're still getting paid out on it.
Right,
You know, like
yeah.
they're signing confidential agreements.
That means they're paying, yeah.
And that the deposition transcript, obviously from
A
You know,
lawsuit,
so
yeah.
like if arbitration is an end all be all.
This man asked us not to show his face, and we've met.
Like Airbnb is going to put a hit out on
His
him.
wife were recorded during a romantic getaway.
They had intimate footage of my wife and I. The sexual union between two people.
The sexual
sacred.
union.
It felt like an extreme violation of our marriage. It's devastating. It's a travesty.
In this case and others, CNN found that Airbnb does not contact law enforcement once hidden cameras are discovered, even if children are involved. Recording someone without their consent is illegal in every state.
That's not true. It depends on your expectation of privacy, right?
Yeah.
Like I could film
Yeah,
you
because
if
there's
you're.
surveillance cameras everywhere.
I can like I actually wasn't Airbnb, it was a hotel, and this lady was just fucking with my shit right before the what conference, the one in Houston.
Oh, really?
Before Lanier, yeah. She was like being an asshole because it was in Shafi's name, and like and so like eventually I recorded her. And she got mad and then like argued with me about it. And she's like, "It's illegal to record." I'm like, "No, it ain't." You know,
Yeah.
It's called expectation of privacy. You, ma'am, have none because you're
Right.
working at
We're
the
in
front
public.
desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's not true. CNN.
Right. They meant it's illegal
Yeah, to do it in this
inside
context.
like a home, but clarify CNN.
Come on now.
If people are out sharing their stories of how they were victimized through the services of Airbnb, nobody's going to want to trust them.
This man only found out he and his wife were recorded because police called him months later after another guest found the camera.
And they explained that every single room in the house had cameras.
Every room.
The cameras were hidden in smoke detectors.
Part of the challenge is that the technology has gotten so advanced, these cameras so small that you can't even see them. In this one bedroom, we have put multiple cameras all around, and they're hidden in plain sight. This one is in the smoke alarm, an alarm clock, and even an outlet. And some of them, like this one, I can control remotely on my phone and even live stream.
That guy took the screenshots. He was live streaming, right? He
I
had
would
to.
assume.
He's like, well, you know, he's like, it's fucking weird.
I wonder why he admitted all that shit.
What a dummy.
What would you like to tell Airbnb?
By not doing their due diligence, they're harming families. And they're selfishly making a lot of money while doing that.
Airbnb declined an interview for this story, but told CNN incidents of hidden cameras are exceptionally rare. And when we do receive an allegation, we take appropriate, swift action, which can include removing hosts and listings. Airbnb's trust and safety policies lead the vacation rental industry.
Can include.
Can include? Like, that's not automatic?
guarantee you they have people with
Oh,
like multiple
for sure.
like Catholic priests type, you know, like moving them around.
And it's so easy to just start a new profile on there,
Yeah.
and they like don't. Yeah.
That is, yeah, I think that's, and also 35,000 divided by 10, you know, 3,500 a year. That's not that much.
Oh, it's 35,000 over how much?
She said over a decade,
Oh, yeah, that actually is pretty exceptionally rare.
given like how many Airbnbs are.
Right, yeah.
And like, what are they doing to like?
There's not really a way for Airbnb to control that
Yeah, what's
other
the-
than banning people once they're reported.
Yeah, what's the due diligence you could possibly do
Right.
on that?
But maybe, I don't know, maybe Airbnb could start, which somebody say they had like claimed they're going to start having every Airbnb actually inspected before it's listed?
That seems like that would be a huge burden on the platform.
100%.
I've seen like there's a
But
competitor
maybe
that
it
has
would
something
outweigh
like
like all the refunds and lawsuits and stuff, you know?
that. All you'd have to do is like wait.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Let it pass inspection.
Stick my cameras
But I mean,
in.
at least for the ones where they don't even exist and stuff
Yeah.
like that, you know, or like the pictures are completely different, like it's completely run down, or
Yeah.
you know.
And then like are gonna start
But as far as
asking-
I guess for hidden cameras, if you know the inspection's coming, but maybe they can make it where like it's like random drug tests, like
Oh,
where
yeah.
you never know, but an inspector can show up at any moment and inspect.
Yeah, but these are all people's houses and shit.
It's the
so now-
implications. Yeah. that's
Well,
true.
hopefully.
I guess you can't do that if it's someone's house.
Yeah, hopefully.
But maybe you can if that's part of the conditions. Like if you want to be on Airbnb, you have to let us inspect randomly at any time.
How many people are gonna go for that? I feel like not that.
I guess if they want to list on Airbnb, they have to.
Yeah, but then you're gonna. I feel like I don't know. I feel like. Do you think less than half would agree to that? I feel like less than half. So you cut your user base.
No, I think really a lot of the ones that wouldn't agree to that would be the shady ones that need to get off anyways. If you've got nothing shady going on,
I don't know if I want someone pulling up in my house when I'm not there.
your Airbnb though.
Yeah, well, all right, but what about when I was house hacking, living out of my Airbnb, and just whenever I'm
But
not
you're allowed to do that. That's like okay.
right. But my point is
Oh,
that
like
that
your
means
shit
they
everywhere
would be
and
coming
stuff.
over
That's true,
when
that's
I'm
true.
just like living in my house and there's
Right, like
paraphernalia and shit like that.
Yeah,
And they're like,
that's
oh
true,
no
that's
no no.
true. Yeah, you're right.
Or if you're doing like a room, like you're renting out a room, I guess you should just allow it. You're allowing random motherfucking guests to come to
All
your
right,
house
yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe.
Which in
come on.
retrospect, like I'm like, why did I do that? That was kind of a weird time in life. I just had random ass people living in my house with me for like days at a time.
Well, you're also a girl, so it's a little,
Yeah, that's what made
perilous.
it even sketchier.
But I feel like, there's, and also you're on Airbnb.
But it was like 2016. Like it was the earlier days of Airbnb where it was a lot of like, I don't know, foreign travelers and like it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't the same as it is now. It feels like it was safer back then somehow.
Well, that's the whole thing that like the main guy was Brian something, I forget his last name, but the founder of Airbnb, he tells this story on a TED Talk where he's like, he came up with the idea because he was like at a bar and like this dude had said that he like needed a place he explained the circumstances, but he might need a place to crash. And eventually he was like, yeah, dude, you can crash in my house. And then he was just like laying there in bed, like, what the fuck have I done? This guy can murder me.
Yeah.
And then like thought about like that's what gave him the idea to have the reviews and have a system of and that immediately said the reviews, which people would only rent to people who look like them until you added the review system, and then they would rent to all sorts of people.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And now that you have inspectors, then maybe they'll start renting to them again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's probably our review
Is that the
of
whole
this.
story?
That's it.
Oh, I wanted more. Okay.
So yeah, CNN, great investigative reporting.
As usual.
Beautiful, angelic-looking woman in this photo is 27 years old. She's living in a luxury, high-end part of central London. She heads over to a friend's house. They're playing a murder mystery board game. Why, just a few days later, is somebody found dead at a multi-million-pound apartment near Hyde Park? This is a live, unfolding case happening right now in London. There are so many details which jump out to me as unusual, which are a mystery and they're a tragedy, but I really wanted to tell you Angela's story. She becomes an entrepreneur because property and rental are big business in London. And Angela is living in a luxury 6-bedroom house. It's a beautiful place in an amazing location round the corner from Hyde Park. She decides to redecorate and start renting her place out on Airbnb. She's just had a DM through on Airbnb, this wealthy businessman who's interested in renting the whole of her house. and he's offering Angela big money, £30,000 for the whole house for the whole month. But anyway, Angela and this guy, they decide to deal with each other directly. He says he'll bank transfer her the £30,000 tomorrow and he'll move in straight away. She tells her boyfriend Chris that she's going to go check into a hotel and she'll find herself somewhere proper to stay in the long term. Angela is on a high and she's about to go off and spend her Saturday night as usual, going over to her mates in East London, and they're going to play some board games. The hours pass by, Angela is laughing with her friends, they're playing this murder mystery game, but something just seems not right. Angela is a bit distracted, she keeps looking at her phone, her friends say that she just kept texting somebody. At around 3 a.m-ish, she turns around to her friends and says, an emergency has come up, I've got to leave, and she just goes immediately. That is the last time her friends would see Angela, because she goes missing. The 27-year-old living out her big dreams in London. Her boyfriend is in Singapore. Her mum is in Thailand. And their lives are about to be changed forever when they get a call off the Metropolitan Police. Why would the millionaires who live in this area report hearing 2 high-pitched screams and then an eerie silence in the early hours? Why was violent rap music playing for 5 hours before and after Angela's disappearance?
Not the violent rap music.
The national manhunt, and what happened to this young woman with such big dreams ahead of her.
Rap music in a mansion, what?
A murder mystery.
It ends right there?
That's ridiculous. That was the worst clip ever.
Right.
All right, we can quickly
There's
Google.
not a part 2?
Hyde murder, right? Hyde Park. Hyde Park. Airbnb murder? Or is that a red herring too?
Airbnb murder.
All right, so then what happened? Since you left us in a cliffhanger.
Oh my God, they stabbed her to death?
Jesus.
I wonder if it was targeted. Like somebody sought her specifically out to murder her.
Yeah. Her again. Oh, we have part 2, actually. I guess we can.
Oh, well, look at that.
The 27-year-old woman in this photo has big dreams when she moves to London from Asia.
Is this the first one or is this a recap?
I think she's just recapping the first video.
So back to the story in East London. It is a Friday night. Angela is around at a friend's house. They're playing a murder mystery game like they normally do.
Oh, yeah, we remember. We remember Amber Hawk.
So you remember in part 1 that I mentioned Angela's boyfriend Chris, he's on a trip to Singapore at the moment. But late on Saturday morning, a message pings through from Angela's phone with just one line, sorry for the delay. Now, Chris immediately says that he knows something is seriously wrong. How, you might wonder? I mean, this is just an innocent message, right? Apologising for going silent on her boyfriend. Well, Chris and Angela, they never message each other in English. They met in Hong Kong, so they always speak Chinese to each other. So as soon as Chris sees this message, he knows that something has happened to Angela. And Angela's friends, they are getting panicked at this point. And more than 13 hours after her friends call the police, they are about to find Angela. Monday morning now, neighbours in this £1 million neighbourhood waking up to go to work. They hear loud bangs and shouts, police breaking down a door at 8:30 a.m. And halfway across the world, Angela's boyfriend Chris was about to get the most unimaginable call from the police in London. Officers find Angela's body. She has been killed in her home near Hyde Park, and she has been stabbed multiple times. The police immediately launch a murder investigation, and the forensics team arrive and they start searching for clues in the flat. As they go around and start chatting to Angela's neighbours, more details come out. One person says, oh, I heard these 2 high-pitched screams followed by this harrowing silence in the early hours of the morning. Searches on Angela's iPad showed that rap music with violent lyrics about stabbing and shooting.
Some of these details.
Who cares about the rap music? Who also, put on a soundtrack for their murder?
There's no sign of a forced entry or somebody breaking into Angela's home. So this leads officers to think that Angela was killed by someone she knew or someone that she had let into her home. And the only person police suspect who was there, the wealthy businessman who had contacted Angela on Airbnb, who had just hired her home for £30,000. As I mentioned, this is a live unfolding case that is happening right now in London. A lot of people really care about what has happened to Angela, and it has shocked us. An international manhunt is underway to try and find this mystery person who rented Angela's home. I so hope that her family get justice for this precious life that has been taken. I'm going to keep a close eye on this story, so follow for more updates.
Wow, I don't love Amber Hawk's reporting style.
Yeah.
That is pretty fucked up. And
it has to be targeted, right? Like, they sought her out specifically because, if they just wanted to rob the Airbnb, they would just book it and steal shit without her being there.
They didn't steal anything.
Yeah,
so it can't
so
be
it's
robbed.
got to be somebody that specifically wanted her dead.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, well, maybe this is more red herrings because of her reporting style, but, what's with all these details about, the murder mystery game?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they find this dude, and I guess we're going to have to do a part 3 later.
Right. Well, it sounds like they knew who he was, probably because he booked it through Airbnb.
Yeah, it's
but
like they have a name. And why are they not releasing it to the public? That's a little weird to me.
yeah, I
Maybe
don't
that's just
know.
like the laws in the UK. Who knows?
Maybe. No idea. Well,
Why
R.I.P.
why
to
would
her.
that random Airbnb host kill her? Like a time of,
That's what I'm wondering. Like, it
guess
can't be random. It has to
she's
be
beautiful. Like he could have like fallen in love with her like during the process of like,
booking the Airbnb.
Well,
No, the booking was definitely a setup because he offered her way like
yeah,
10
that's true,
times
that's
the
true.
amount of the
Maybe
money.
it's because like when I set up a dog walker for ghosts, I picked the prettiest one who like had good reviews. He's like, all right,
That's so funny.
that flat will do, and I'll pay whatever it takes.
Right.
I want all the rooms.
Maybe,
It's also a little
I
yeah.
don't
And
know.
then the other question I guess would be his cover story, right?
Yeah.
He had like it was like some bullshit in the first
Hello,
video.
I'm a wealthy billionaire. What? Yeah.
And she's like, oh, sounds
Sounds
legit.
legit, right?
Yeah. Well, R.I.P. Airbnb horror story. P.S. I'm someone who's definitely used Airbnb before.
Okay.
I'm someone who has definitely used Airbnb before, although sometimes I hear some horror stories that truly freak me out, like some of these. So this one person said that their family stayed at an Airbnb, and after they booked it, they received an email with 3 pages of detailed instructions from the host of what to do and what not to do. Listen to this, because this is just bananas. Literally word for word, it reads, when it comes to the heat, the fireplace is the preferred, more economical source of heat for the house. Please turn on ceiling and doorway fans to distribute heat and turn down thermostats for electric heat when using fireplace. Of course, the host then went into detail about what exact temperature range the people renting it should keep the thermostat at. Then they said every time you are not using your room during your stay, you need to turn off the heat and close both of the doors until an hour or so before retiring. The wording? They're very fixated on the heat, because then they said turn down the heat throughout the house if you plan to be out for more than a short period, and turn off fans and lights when not in use. Oh, it gets better. Then when it comes to any sheets and towels, anyone renting this Airbnb must wash and fold the sheets and towels. Anything that's been soiled.
I can't fold.
And if
That's
the
insane.
renters don't want to do this, then they'll be charged a minimum $15 per load laundering fee, which will be claimed against their security deposit. The person who shared this story revealed that her and her family that rented it did pay a cleaning and service fee. And all these little details just made them so paranoid that when they were on their vacation, they could not relax because they didn't know what they were doing wrong.
They're like, shit, did we turn off the heat?
Charged for it. It's too stressful and uptight. They would much rather book a hotel. If you have any similar horror stories, share them with me in the comments below.
I'd like to see that story. Who is this lady?
See the like 3 pages?
Yeah, I'd like to see the pages. I like
Yeah.
to read it myself. I don't like her so much.
But also it's kind of counterintuitive, all the turning off the heat and back on. Like, it's going to cost you just as much in energy to keep reheating the house
Yeah, I
instead of
thought
just
s-
leaving it on.
Well, I guess they're using a fireplace though, so maybe that doesn't cost much.
Well,
energy.
no, the fireplace is supposed to be in addition to the heat. Like, if you have the
Oh,
fireplace
yeah.
on, don't use the heat. Like,
So when I was checking, I had a really real quirky Airbnb at this time that I stayed for like the co-work out of.
yeah.
And there was it was nice. It was weird shit, but like at the end when we were like I was checked out and he was like asking like he's like, oh, the lights are still on. He turned them off. I was like, I leave the lights on often and I'm gone,
Yeah.
bro. Well, rules in Airbnbs are annoying. I agree. I was at this Airbnb. I got dragged along to one of Shafi's friends' 30th birthday party weekend in Airbnb in
Oh, I
Scottsdale.
saw that.
So then it had outside these things.
What the fuck is this?
I was like, look at these plants. They look good. They look like peas or something. So I used ChatGPT to identify it, and it was like a Chinese pea or something like that. So I was like, all right, let's eat it. So I fired it up, and you cannot eat it. Not legible or not edible. Excuse me. And all right, this is the refrigerator situation. I thought this was worth noting.
What?
No shelves.
How do you have a shelfless fridge?
Exactly. It made it really hard to like stock it. you know?
Yeah.
So we have like a big group
Damn,
of
this
people.
is a very well-stocked fridge for a vacation.
It
Are
was
those ribs?
There's ribs. It was all pork.
This is
and
y'all stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
And so none of it fit in there. And then I don't know if I've never watched this video since when we took it, but let's just check it out.
Literally meal prepped. No room for the things.
Shit.
They literally have 2 shelves. The entire thing.
Ow. What if an Airbnb guest stole the shelves?
That's what I think happened.
They're missing all these shelves.
They're like, these shelves are nicer than ours in my fridge.
I think they
They
just.
don't have a bottom bin here. They do have full coverage beyond that. Though, so they have.
Like freezer's fine, but like honestly,
Honestly, it's missing. No, it's missing one too.
The gasp. It is missing one.
and these are ours too. No,
Okay, no, these are not amenities. In fact, the dog ice cream, not an amenity.
Go see yourself. Nope, not
Look,
interested.
Ghost, you're famous.
So it was a very weird Airbnb for that reason. I think the reason is like it like got broken or something like that, and they just
They
didn't.
just never fixed
It's like
it,
kind of a
yeah.
hard thing to replace because you have to like figure out the
very specific. It has
manufacturer,
to- yeah.
like hit up. I don't know what brand that
sucks.
is. So yeah, that
And
was.
you're not going to replace the whole fridge for
Mhm.
like missing shelves.
There was also every picture frame was crooked in there.
That is like my pet peeve. I cannot stand crooked like things on walls.
They also are like weird about the pool. They wouldn't. They like it was gross. It wasn't that gross. It was like I wouldn't have noticed, but the girls noticed, and then they like wouldn't fix it properly. They were like kind of awkward back and forth. Is there any other thing that I documented there that I thought was stupid? So that sign right there, it says, "In this kitchen we dance," and I was doing a deposition or mediation from this Airbnb. And like I was doing it outside in the morning, but it's fucking Scottsdale. It's insanely hot. So then I had to like retreat inside. And then I'm like my background, I'm doing my Airbnb, and like I shifted, and then she just reads like, "Is it in this kitchen we dance?" And the meter's like, I like your
Neon lights.
neon, your pink neon in your kitchen. Are you dancing?" And I was like, I don't know. We'll see how this
is
settlement goes
hilarious.
if I go
Right.
dancing. It was a good settlement, so I danced. But yeah. Anyways, that's my own Airbnb story from 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And so, backstory for our viewers: we shared this video without our commentary, and it was amongst our most viral, if not our most viral video
it
of
was
all time.
definitely like over 1 million views, right?
And what is the difference? And we're about to show head to head. It's gonna be missing our faces, and it's gonna drop in
We're gonna
views.
add us, and it's gonna get 10 views now. Ugh. Whatever.
All right, so I'm very critical.
We'll do minimal commentary, and hopefully it'll like make it go more viral.
I've only charged you for the things that you've used.
The washing machine will be charged at £5 per wash. Are you serious? So I'm here at this nice Airbnb, but it's not so nice because there's notes everywhere. There we go.
Oh man.
No meat.
They charge you to
or
play
animal
pool?
Products allowed.
It's a vegan household.
It was my deceased husband's favorite one. Wi-Fi is free on the first day of your stay.
What?
These are great. We gotta go back through them all.
Don't take a shower after 8 p.m.
Yeah, this is Joanna. I've just been staying at your Airbnb.
Oh, okay. Hello, Joanna.
So I just got a note from Airbnb about some additional charges that were put on, and I was just trying to figure out what happened with that.
You used the pool table twice, and there's a charge on the pool table.
Sorry, I am actually curious as well. Whether or not I used the pool table. How did you know I used the pool table?
Everything was in a different place.
I'm sure if we used anything, it would have been put back exactly how it would have been.
Oh, no, it wasn't, no.
So you're saying we apparently used your pool table?
Well, how do you know it's used
Twice,
twice?
exactly.
Yeah.
I was thinking that.
Cameras.
I know you used the washing machine twice. You know,
Why?
How would you know that? The washing machine moved?
It did not. No, it didn't say that on the documents. It just said that there's a washing machine included. This was not listed. The
This
fact
is
that
why
you
I've put labels on things so people are aware of the extra
Did you not see the thousands of note cards?
for the things that you've used. I will take this up with the Airbnb because
Please
they have
do.
all your numbers
Absolutely.
and your credit card payment.
Yep.
And they will dispute this with you.
Yeah, you take it up with them. I will take it up with them and explain how absolutely ridiculous this is.
All right, we gotta
First of all, they've got to have cameras. How would you know they used it
The
twice?
pool table thing, get it out of it. That's just know that it's been used.
Also, how could you?
don't know.
Maybe you just moved the fucking balls a little bit or something and didn't use it.
Absurd. And like, what are you talking about charging per use? That's
It
absurd.
doesn't cost you anything for someone to use your pool table. Washing machine, it's still absurd to charge people $5 to do your laundry, but at least that's a cost to you.
Yeah, and well, you can install little quarter things or whatever for
Right,
both
if
of
you
these
wanted to
devices
do
if you want to
that.
charge it per. But like, it's very weird that she knew by the second because she moved
She's
it.
gotta have
And I
cameras.
wish it pressed her on that. I'm glad that
Yeah.
she didn't. It makes me like want to figure out where this is.
Mhm.
Find the Airbnb. Go to London. stay
Right.
there and use it a shit ton of times and catch your.
see, yeah.
Well, let's go through these notes though. They're ridiculous.
No showers after 8 p.m.
We'll be charged at £5 per wash, no exceptions.
Wow.
Maybe there's a way you can make it tell you per wash, or like.
I
maybe,
guess mine connects to an app, so it'll tell you when things are being washed.
Yeah, maybe it's a smart one. All right, that
Yeah.
one's solved. Do not use this toilet for number 2.
Oh my God.
If you block this toilet, you'll be charged a mandatory £1,000 fee.
No.
That's like, isn't
What
pound?
if you sit down to take a pee and it just happens? And how are they going to know whether you pooped in there or not?
I guess if you unclog it yourself, they'll never know.
Right.
But like, all right, that's £1,000. Isn't the base like is a pound $1 basically?
I think it's more. I think 1,000 pounds is probably like $1,200.
That's wild. Real quick, I just got to know. 1,000. Oh shit, British pounds. That's $1,300
Wow,
bucks.
that was really close.
Yeah. All right, so $1,300. That's
For taking a shit.
Yeah, that's absurd. Fucking
How are you
weird.
going to force your veganism on people? No meat or animal products allowed?
Yeah.
And how would you know if they did that?
Exactly.
Like, are you reading the label of like the Hot Pockets?
Makes
or
me want to sneak in little meat,
Right.
little protein.
just leave them
snacks.
around the house?
I want to slaughter a goat in her
crazy.
fucking house.
How can
And I was
okay? That's
vegan.
cool. Right? Exactly. All right, you're a vegan, but how can you make other people eat veganly while they're in your Airbnb?
And weird place to enforce it. In
I
your
know the
Airbnb.
microwave. Oh, the refrigerator. This is a vegan household.
So
Respect
that means you can't put any meat in the fridge either.
Wow.
That is wild. I want to rub meat all over their
I
fridge.
know.
Just to put butter on everything.
Exactly.
Throw milk at her. His chair.
It was my deceased husband's favorite one. Then maybe
Why the
don't
fuck
have
is
it in
it
your
your Airbnb? Agreed.
She must live in this Airbnb or something. But still, that doesn't. Whatever.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Move that chair. Where do you go when it's rented? Put the chair there
Exactly.
and sit in it there. That's absurd. I want to sit on that too.
Right. I'd fart in that chair so much.
So I'm already into. I think it's a funny way to say kill someone.
Unalive?
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, when social media is just going to start, like, blocking stuff that uses unalive instead of kill.
Oh, is that because kill would?
Yeah,
block
that's
it?
why people say unalive, because if you put kill or murder or whatever in, like, Instagram or something, it, like, won't show it.
Did not know that. Guys,
Yeah.
get back over there.
But I mean, like,
Definitely.
how long until they catch on to unalive?
Yeah. Okay. So I thought she was just trying to be funny. Guess not. Huh?
It's like
All
an
right.
algorithm thing.
What do I know?
Put your finger down if you started hosting on Airbnb during the pandemic and 3 years down the line you get a guest who is in town for a contract, so he decides to extend his stay for a year, and 4 months into his stay he disappears. So the apartment complex calls you and lets you know that the night before a SWAT team came and got your guest. Now you go to your Airbnb to check on any damages and you find out that your Airbnb is completely cleaned out and the guest is nowhere to be found and he's a ghost. He doesn't exist anywhere. Also, Airbnb refuses to reimburse you for all the damages that the guest caused, and also he was arrested for unaliving someone.
That was funny. I was very specific. Did not get to put a finger down.
Right. Very specific.
And there's not a single.
And the
even...
smile after him unaliving someone. And also, he unalived someone.
Yeah, that was exactly it. And like all these qualifiers, not a single one just by itself could I put a finger down for.
Yeah.
I'm usually pretty.
Dude, who Airbnbs for a year?
Yeah, that's not called Airbnb. That's just called you have a
that's
tenant,
just
dude.
leasing, right?
And that's I've done it once where I did a long-term Airbnb through Airbnb. They don't give you all the money. They just take it monthly and give it to you monthly. So it sucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that sucked. I was ready for the only reason I agreed to this.
You gotta go off app at that point,
Yeah.
except for that always bites you in the ass when you go off app.
And those are like unrelated. She strings them all together, and I don't appreciate that. Like,
Okay, the SWAT team came and got him, but before that, had he emptied out the apartment for
and like
some reason?
exactly,
Maybe
like,
he knew the SWAT team was coming because he murdered somebody or unalived. Oops.
We got these sent in from a fan. Sorry.
We have fans.
Yeah.
Or at least one fan.
We haven't confirmed plural.
I caught my perverted Airbnb host peeping on me while I was naked in my room in Turkey. This man stuck his head out of the kitchen window so he could peer into my bedroom window where I was getting ready
physically
naked. I heard a noise, turned around, saw him, covered my chi-chis, and said, "Excuse me." He immediately retreated, closed the screen of the window he had opened so he could strain his neck and look at me, and then scurried out of the kitchen like a rat, because that's what he is, a perverted little rat. I immediately packed my bags and left, and even had a pair of scissors, a baby scissors, in my hand in case I needed to protect myself. Immediately
Not the
before
baby
this
scissors.
incident, I had seen him in the reflection of my window looking right at me while I was shirtless, but I just thought it was coincidence. And the night before, while I was in the bathroom, he walked over to my room and looked inside. I confronted him and asked him why he was peeping on me, and he said, I was looking for cats. We all know you were not looking for cats, unless the cat you were looking for was the Oriental short hair between my legs. I reported this to Airbnb, and to my dismay, they allowed him to keep hosting. So if you're a female, don't stay with Mehmet in Istanbul.
Oh man, I'd love to find this Airbnb.
Mehmet, that's like every Turkish man's name, though.
That's not gonna help. Actually, I saw an episode 90 Day Fiance, or like a season.
Yeah.
I think he's just like, no, I didn't. You know?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I swear I didn't. And they're like, you sure?
And he's like, promise. And they're like, all right.
It's just a cat.
Okay, bestie. All right.
But I'm confused though, because they always, in my experience, side with the guest, not the host. And all of a sudden they're like, no, like if I'm like, they're like, yeah, I swear they broke my thing. Like, no, he didn't. They're like, sorry, dude, you're fucked.
They said they didn't.
Yeah. And then now here she's like, he's staring at me naked. I caught him.
They
We looked
pick
each
and
other's
choose.
eyes. Yeah, like, no, he's
Right.
good. He's good.
We caught each other's eyes.
What did Airbnb do when I reported my Airbnb host for peeping on me in Turkey? Long story short, not much. I called them as soon as I left the Airbnb and got in an Uber. They said they would offer to help me find a new Airbnb, but I already booked another Airbnb last minute, and that Airbnb ended up flooding and ruining all my stuff, but that's another story. They said they would investigate this Airbnb host, so they suspended his profile. You could still see the listing, but if you check the dates, they wouldn't load.
Could you not find a less windy place to record this video?
They messaged me saying the investigation was completed and they closed the support ticket. And when I checked the listing, it was back up.
Is she on a ferry?
No sign of anything. So I had to open another support ticket to inquire what happened with the investigation. And they told me they're not allowed to tell me that, but they offered to reimburse me $325 a night for a hotel. But since I already booked a crappy Airbnb, which ended up flooding, they said they couldn't reimburse me with anything. And that was the end of it until I posted a video online. And they immediately reached out to me, probably within an hour, and they gave me a $500 credit. I guess that'll cover one session of therapy.
All right, I kind of like her humor
Right.
at the end. But I
Why
wonder
was she like out on a boat and decided to record this video in like all this wind?
Yeah, like she's got that old Karen next to her. She's
Yeah.
like going on about her peeping Tom. Yeah,
Peeping Tom, not peeing
peeing
Tom, yeah.
She also said she did it immediately, but had just immediately booked an Airbnb. You know, like
yeah, and she said she told them after she left.
yeah.
Some holes in your story, man.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was a longer Uber. Like, where were you Ubering to? I guess she booked an Airbnb. That way, I may have been hard on her. She's like, "What the fuck? I gotta get out of here." She
Booked
books
a
an
new
Airbnb,
one, and then when
gets
she-
and then gets in the Uber, and yeah, okay, all right,
It
all
makes
right.
sense. Sorry we doubted you.
We're very critical.
Right. We hear a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
But I mean, to play devil's advocate though, from Airbnb's perspective, that's something that's really hard to prove happened. You know, like somebody like peeping on you, like without a camera or anything. Like anybody could say that and try to get a refund.
That's true. That's true. And also, this goes back to something we always harp on, but this is obviously a shared room situation.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Because she said he was in the kitchen and stuff.
So, well, you know, misexperience. You didn't, and your other 50 stays, you didn't realize a difference between entire
Whole
unit
place, yeah.
and having a room and all the, like, she's actually luckiest girl in the world if she went 49 in a row without having
and
any issues.
only had this one issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how many I've stayed at.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what my count is.
I'd like to go back and count now.
Probably decent. You're probably up there.
Yeah, I'm probably in 50.
Especially if
We've
you
been
start
doing it for,
counting like the ones you've just stayed at, but maybe you didn't book yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Then you really get up there.
Excuse me. And there's a lot of those.
I woke up this morning to find out my Airbnb account had been suspended. So I called Airbnb and asked them, what's going on, man? And they said, oh, we're already looking into it. Don't you worry about that. And I asked them, you guys aren't going to ban me off Airbnb, are you? And the support man said no. And shortly after that call, I received a message that I have been banned from Airbnb. So learn from my mistakes, guys. If you stay in an Airbnb and in the privacy of your own room, you are naked and the host peeps on you, which is sexual harassment and a violation of privacy, you can
Why did
report it to
sexual
Airbnb,
harassment get
but
spelled
they
weird
I
like
thought that was
that?
odd.
keep hosting.
I'm telling you, it's
And
an
then
algorithm
if you're
thing.
dumb enough to open your mouth and blab about it online, Airbnb will suspend and eventually ban your account.
Uber does that
Even if
too.
you're like me, a loyal Airbnb guest for the last 10 years, stayed in over 50 accommodations, only good reviews. Keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything.
But is she snacking on cherry tomatoes?
That's what I was wondering. Is she just eating straight up cherry tomatoes?
I wonder what her review was from the host from this last one.
I know.
Like little to complain.
Little
Complains
pee-pee.
a lot. Nice tits.
Didn't pee on me, did peep on me.
I meant his review of her.
So we go over to clean the Airbnb one day. Kids were helping me at this point. They weren't in school. They were home. They were e-learning. And we had our specific chores that we each did. And I sent Luke upstairs because I had noticed that they had not followed checkout instructions and stripped their beds. So he went upstairs to strip their beds, and he comes down and he looks at me and he's like, nope, 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 nope. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, nope. And so I go upstairs thinking he's being dramatic, and it looks like a murder scene. There are 3 beds up there. All 3 beds have blood all over them. Comforters, soaked through the blankets, soaked through the sheets, soaked all the way through onto the mattress covers. On all 3 beds. Some was new blood, some was dried blood. Piles of blood. And as I turn the corner, I see the tampon wrapper and the used applicator laying on the floor. Why? Why? So, next time you think about wanting a rental, there's my fun story.
Man, those kids are fucking traumatized.
But she said they were e-learning, so bitch, they're supposed to be learning, and you've got them cleaning Airbnbs.
They're not e-learning. They're watching porn anyways. At least the young men are, so they know exactly how this. They probably figured out quicker than I did.
Yep.
Obviously, like I don't know anything about periods. That's disgusting. I try to stay blissfully ignorant. But like that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
3
You
days?
pulled out one tampon and just like squirted blood all over
Maybe
3
they
beds.
had sex on their period. In
It's got to be period sex. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But like, so you fucked up one bed and you're like, on to the next one.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
That's
just keep fucking up the same bed. Why
or
would you
like
fuck
lay
up all
a towel down.
Right.
Red towel day. Come
Do
on
it in
now.
the shower.
Yeah, shower. That's what you're supposed
Not
to
that
do.
I know anything about this, Mom and Dad.
It doesn't sound like, based on my review, like a view of her personality, and like these got to be young kids. There's no way they've had the birds and the bees talk. That was forced upon her by this situation.
Yep. She's like, well, son.
Sometimes women please.
Sometimes you don't want to wait until after your period.
Thought of another explanation. All right. Multiple couples in there. All the girls' periods synced up. Period. That happens, right? Their periods all synced up.
Yep.
And they're
Banging.
friends. Banging. They're banging it out.
Yp.
All 3 beds.
Simultaneously.
Everyone's getting action.
Yeah.
And then only one of them left a tampon. and in the floor.
Who's just changing a tampon in the hallway?
That's also the least gross part of
Right,
of 4
exactly.
encounters. All 3 beds are obviously worse than a fucking tampon on the floor.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to be. Oh, that's the last straw.
I guess that's what let her know that it was period and not
Yeah.
like a murder or something. I mean, unalive. An
And then the
unaliving.
I thought it was the last straw, and I didn't mean like a tampon straw. I meant the actual.
Are they called tampon straws?
Yeah, that's what they are. You know, the string. There's a straw. There's a string. It makes these little tubes.
Is it called a straw?
Oh, I definitely don't
Do
think
you
it's
know
called
more?
a straw.
Okay.
I just know that I've seen people use straws from a tampon to snort things.
Ah, okay.
Not that I know anything about that.
Right.
That CBD
It's
powder.
Goody's headache powder. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, Goody's headache powder.
I thought for the longest time that's how you took that. I never did it, but I was like, damn, like you really just snort headache powder? And they're like, you eat it. I was like, oh, I thought that was weird that so many people like snorted their medication, but whatever.
That's just a junkie thing to do.
Right. Can you snort the headache powder?
You can snort everything.
Will it like cure your headache or make it worse?
It's probably not a good. It's not how the way the doctor prescribed it.
So Ian and I recently went to a legal conference in New Orleans, and we flew. We actually both took our dogs. Ghost and Janet both joined us. But Ian falls asleep, of course, on the plane. And
yeah.
like we get an announcement from the pilot. And the pilot is like, well, there's some bad weather in New Orleans, so we're turning around and going back to Atlanta.
That's what
all the
woke
way
me
back
up.
to Atlanta.
That's what woke me up. I was kind of half asleep, and I was like, wait, what? And I texted Maha because you're like a couple seats away from me.
Yeah.
A couple rows up. And then I was like, did they just say? And you were like, yeah. We're basically in New Orleans, and they start turning around. I'm like, we're going back to what? To Atlanta? There's not a closer.
We couldn't go to Montgomery or.
There's other cities on the
Yeah.
map.
And then we got there and like sat on the tarmac, and like some people were like
Yeah.
all in a tizzy, like, let me off the plane.
One guy got off. He was like, I got to make my next flight.
Yeah.
He'd figure out a new way to get to New
He
Orleans.
booked a new flight or something. And the flight attendants were like, all right, like if you get off, you can't get back on the plane. But they made it seem like it was it. Like they were just waiting to let everybody off the plane.
At first, they were like, no one's getting off. And then they made a concession. They're like, yeah, you get off. But again, they were like very clear. Like, you cross that door, you're not getting back on. And we were like, man, the moment we get off, they're gonna be like, we were like, we're gonna wish we got off,
right?
Because they're gonna never leave.
They're gonna keep us on this plane for 4 hours. We're never going back, and then they're gonna finally let us off.
But no,
it's not what happened.
As soon as that guy
one guy played himself, literally as soon as he stepped off the plane, they're like, all right, guys, we're refueling and going back to New Orleans.
We get a new crew and then new fuel, and then we're out of here. So we got there extremely late, but yeah, that was a good start to the trip.
Right.
And there's a New Orleans conference, so pretty standard fun.
We actually, though, Airbnb related, we went to a festival afterwards, hangout festival, and you've been staying in the same penthouse condo for several years.
Let's get us to there real quick. I want to set it up a little bit. So we're at this conference, and I convinced Maha to go to this conference. And I also, so the way I think part of how I convinced you is I set you up with my Walker Advertising, who sells my law firm hot leads, and I was like, you should work with them too. They're great, and my rep's great. His name is Jordan. Jordan's last name is Hellman, and he really is a Hellman. He's a Hellraiser. He's awesome. And so he's like, yeah, dude. And then one of the perks is they pay for conferences. Like there's this conference in New Orleans, and I was like, and I told him, I was like, dude, the conference ended on Thursday, and Hangout Music Festival, this conference in New Orleans, 3 hours away in Gulf Shores, begins on Thursday. Essentially, that's when I was checking into the penthouse. I've had this penthouse for a long time now. It used to be, it's been passed down through people. Initially, it was with Adam Wexler. He had it for a couple years. And so I was trying to convince you guys to come. And then the head, one of the top people at Walker was like, oh, I know the owners of Hangout Fest.
Yeah.
And next thing, it hooks us all up with VIP tickets. And
So of course I had to go.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go. No one's gonna go with me until we had the free tickets. But then then the three of us road trip over to New Orleans, from New Orleans over there. And let's see, anything you should talk about Hangout Fest?
Well, I mean, perfect setup because the penthouse is like almost inside the festival, and you can see the festival from the balcony.
Oh yeah, that first night was Thursday, and so they used to do a pre-party on Thursdays, but they scrapped that in recent years, past couple of years, and so that's why I always book a Thursday night. But then you're there the whole day Friday.
Yeah,
we go and upgrade our tickets. That was a pain in the ass.
Super VIP.
And then we were hanging out on our balcony, and they were doing sound check. And what's his name? It's not Benny Benassi.
I've already forgotten his name.
It's Beautiful Things. I'll just find out real quick.
The Beautiful Things. That song.
That guy. Yeah. Beautiful Things. All right. His name, Benson Boone, Benny Benassi. I think that's the EDM
That's
guy.
a pretty cool name.
Yeah, it's a very cool name. But they're playing it, and the headliner the next day was Lana Del Rey.
Right.
And so we hear in the background, and Jordan was like, is that dude, is Benson Boone going to be here? And I was like, no.
We couldn't decide if it was actually him doing sound check or just them playing that song somewhere.
Y'all were debating that. I knew that it was definitely not sound check. It was just them playing like a loop version of his song.
I said it sounded live. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's actually him. Because I also heard Nelly. I was like, Nelly's over here doing sound check.
Nelly made sense. Nelly was on the ticket. I was like, no way, Benson Boone's there. Fast forward a full day and we're all super VIP. So it's like, open bar and it's like top shelf. It's really good.
Legs.
Oh yeah. Great. I should probably see if we have some videos of it. We should find some videos of the food and review it.
Yeah, I took a lot of videos of the food.
Yeah.
I was basically just there for the food.
Yeah, that's how I was able to convince you to.
Right.
Because obviously Shafi's is bougie and would only do it that way.
I love exclusive shit.
Yeah. Back to finish the Benson Boone thought. So then the first day, all of a sudden, like the best part probably for me, maybe the whole weekend or top three, was when all of a sudden Benson Boone comes out in the middle of Lana Del Rey and
does that song.
And like a long version of it. And then Lana Del Rey's like, yeah, it was so awesome yesterday when you did the sound check for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, told you.
Other than that, what's your favorite part of the festival?
The food. It was definitely the food. No, Nelly. I fucking loved Nelly. That was so
great.
much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I kept telling everyone my favorite part was Sexy Red.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Sexy Red was definitely my favorite. Like, that's what I was there for. Get it sexy. But anyways.
Oh, yeah.
The Airbnb that you've been renting for years and years. I thought we left it pretty fucking clean when we left. Like, we cleaned up, we did the dishes, we put the trash out.
I thought we like, I went and found all like the fucking roaches and I just threw them away like in a way that they wouldn't see them.
Right.
And I thought we took decent care of it. My brother-in-law is very responsible because we left early.
First, yeah.
We left first. That was probably my first mistake, was to leave before the deed was done.
Yeah.
And then I like I always do, I called to re-rent it immediately each year, and I called and they were like, oh, it's not available. And I was like, oh yeah, well, can I get another unit? And they're like, hold on. And I had to wait on hold for a minute, and then they like put me back on. They're like, we can't rent to you anymore. And
but did they ever say why?
they said that the state of the unit, and then they're like, yeah, last year you fucked it up too. And so,
damn.
Yeah, I'm out.
There was the unit was like so nice and clean when we left.
Well,
like y'all had ordered a shit ton of Taco Bell, but it wasn't like scattered about or anything. Nobody even ate the Taco Bell. Everybody fell asleep.
Yeah, well, that was quite the weekend.
It was.
And the last time I'll be staying in that unit under my own name.
So just let Wexler book it, I guess.
Yeah, we
right?
probably need to like get on like trying to do that ASAP.
Soon.
I wish they would have sent me pictures too.
It's going to be the last year possibly in Gulf Shores too,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, did they send any sort of proof of the state of the unit that we left it in?
Well, since it's not Airbnb to deal with, then,
they
I
don't
guess.
have to do shit, I guess. But...
Yeah. Oh, this is actually tight.
Oh, the golf cart. Forgot about that. We got to ride golf carts everywhere.
Is this when we were doing beep beep?
Somebody says, oh, yeah. Beep beep, and there's something else that we were yelling at people. Oh, I was asking people what color their booty hole was. Forgot about that. And people were answering me.
Yeah, they're like... Oh, I don't know why we filmed this.
I don't either.
I thought it was going to be us, like, right around...
Excuse me. I'm doing a survey, and I was just wondering, what color's your booty hole? And people were literally just answering me like that wasn't the weirdest thing to be asked.
All right, well, that was another little anecdote of a mini episode of Once Upon a Bnb.
This is Maha.
I'm Ian.
Bye.